I feel alive. I know inside that you would take it all away. I know the truth. I see through the lies, and I won't let you win again.
I'm not going to do a formal introduction. Syann, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
So for those that don't know, you are obviously an accomplished runner in a sense. You're training for Comrades that's coming up soon. So I know your training is going well and feeling strong and confident for that. No comment?
No comment. No, I am.
So we obviously met through running, and that's how our relationship formed. But just maybe give some context into how did we meet? What was the story behind it? And
Sure. So crazy day.
It was.
My mutual friend obviously knew you and asked me to come. You were doing 100 marathons in 100 days, and he was like, on the first day, everybody's going to meet, and that can we all go support and run? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. I'll go run a 10K.
Yeah.
And then got there. We literally got introduced and started running straight away. And one marathon in, that's how we met.
And that's the thing. So you came there, you mentioned you wanted to run 10Ks, and then 10Ks turned into a marathon. And I'll never forget that, because I was running these 10K loops, and then you were there for the first loop. And then you're like, no, I'll run 10, maybe 21. Then you were there for the second loop. And then I'm like, surely not the third loop. Third loop, fourth loop. And then before you know it, you ran my first marathon with me. So that was like, that blew my mind. And still to this day, I can't believe that this stranger that I never knew before ran a marathon with me. So thank you so much for that. But I needed to ask, in terms of that first day, when you heard, right, and once you had met me, that I was going to run 100 marathons, what was your initial response?
Listen, I was like, that's crazy. Who does that? And then I was like, could I do that? And I was like, no, I don't think so. And I was like, I don't think he'll be able to do 100 marathons in 100 days without a rest day in between. I honestly thought like, it shouldn't be possible, because somewhere along the line you needed to take a rest.
Yeah, 100%.
Not 100%, because you didn't need to take a rest, ever.
Well, kind of, true. But I remember when we were running, so the reason why I've asked you to come here is because out of everyone I ran with over those 100 marathons, by far, I ran with you the most. Probably like 75, 80 days.
Yeah, it was
a lot. It was a lot. So the reason why I asked you to come here is because we made so many memories, right, over those 100 days. And like I said, the person I ran with most was in fact you. But I asked you towards the end of the marathons, I was like, what did you think on that first day? So that first day you were like, no, Chad is crazy. Chad's not going to be able to do this.
No. That was before I even met you. I was like this. When Ashley told me my friend's going to be running 100 marathons in 100 days to raise money for cancer, I still said to him, over a year, and he's like 100 days within the year, and he was like, no, consecutively. And I'm like, you can't. You have to rest your body.
100%.
So initially I thought that, then I met you, and I think after 10Ks already, I was like, this guy's going to do it. I think that's why I stayed, and I just kept doing the loops with you, because you were so inspirational from the beginning, from the get-go, and I just felt that, 10Ks in, I already knew that Chad's going to do it. If anyone's going to do it, Chad's going to do it.
I appreciate that. And then I wanted to ask you, out of those 100 days, what was the most memorable for you?
Oh, there were so many memories. We had a lot of good memories. 100%. A lot of bad ones, but
a few bad ones.
But a lot of good memories, and that. I think the first and the last day to me were very big memories for me, because they were, I don't know, there was just so much that I took out from it. But like, I think maybe spelling the cancer word, trying to do an exclamation mark on a Saturday morning, and arguing
give
with
some
everybody.
Context to that. So our runs were getting quite boring, because we're running the same routes over and over. So Syann came up with this idea. She's like, let's spell out something. She's seen people on Instagram and on Strava that do this. So we spelled out cancer sucks over it was 3 weeks or
3
so.
weeks, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was like in the coldest of the coldest
That's the
days.
day it snowed, you remember?
We
And
did.
it was
We ran that day. It snowed.
crazy.
I think we did the sea that day, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so I think like that, and also Soweto, running through Soweto was one of my
Keith.
best memories.
Yes, and he's obviously now in the closing stages.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
go sign the initiative, the petition, because he needs to. He's 500 k's away. It would be so sad if he's not able to.
I check it all the time, and I'm like, yeah, it's so
anyway,
close, so close.
So close. And he's run 10,300 k's.
It's insane.
So let's actually speak about that. That's something I haven't written here in terms of the questions, but it's a good topic. Do you remember running with Keith Boyd and how that day, just in terms of, I remember meeting Keith and thinking like, what, this guy's running how many kilometers? Oh, it was crazy.
And we set out to do a 6 kilometer.
Yes, it was a 6K.
And we ended up in the middle of nowhere, 18 k's in.
Running for our life in Soweto.
I still asked my boss for a few hours of work.
Yes.
Well, an hour and a half to be exact. And one afternoon later.
Yeah, no. So you're obviously a very accomplished runner, and you've had a lot of running moments that you've gone through, I'm sure. Out of that, what would you say has been your favorite running memory so far in your life, and why? Why did it mean so much to you?
Obviously the Comrades, the actual running the Comrades. I've done the virtual, but doing the actual Comrades was probably my biggest accomplishment thus far. And I think it's the atmosphere, it's the emotions you go through, because you don't love it the whole time.
Yeah.
You love it, you hate it, you want to cry, you want to laugh, there's just so many, you go through so much during that day.
Yeah.
So I would say Comrades. And like finishing, I mean, I still looked at the photos after. I don't remember doing it, but I mean, I had my arms up like I won Comrades. That's what I felt like when you run into that stadium.
Yeah.
And so I think that Comrades is just something that you can't compare to anything.
Yeah. So how far is Comrades? For those that don't know, it's...
Okay, it differs. So when I ran it, I actually ran the longest Comrades, which was almost 91 kilometers. This year is actually the shortest Comrades. So I'm going to be doing the shortest one as well.
Sure.
But generally, it's about 88 Ks.
And it's an up run this year, right?
This year's an up run, yeah.
Cool. So it's 84 Ks. Where would you say that the wall is? We all know the wall. When you hit the wall and you start to really grit on your teeth, and like, when would you say for the average runner, when have you hit that mark throughout Comrades? Because you said it's this array of emotions. You start off happy, and then it gets really hard, and then maybe it's not as hard, and then it gets really hard again. So what would you say is that mark along Comrades, where you feel like, if I can get to this mark, I know it's going to start getting really tough?
I get to that mark and then I'm like, okay, now it's nearly done. We're nearly there.
Yeah.
But I would say 60.
I remember you said to me 60K is that mark where people tend to...
60K is a...
Because you're feeling, I'm sure, a lot of
pain.
pain, and then you still have to think, how many Ks left? 20, 25 Ks
25,
left?
26K still, yeah. So, 60Ks.
So let me ask you this. Next question. If you could run one race forever, what would it be and why? If there was only one race you could run as a runner, what would it be?
It would have to be Oceans.
Serious?
Oceans, yeah.
Over Comrades?
So, Comrades is, like I say, my biggest achievement. But in terms of the vibe and beauty, the Comrades vibe is also amazing, but the beauty, I like scenery. You know me, I'm all for sunsets and sunrises and all that. So beautiful run to Oceans.
Serious? Wow. And in terms of how many runners, is it similar, or is there a lot more runners that run Comrades?
No, a lot more Comrades.
Okay.
A lot more. Yeah.
So then, what is your best time in Comrades?
Well, I've only done one, eh?
You've only done one?
Well, I've done two. I've done a virtual and a down.
So you give context to what is a virtual Comrades, and why did they run a virtual Comrades that year?
So with COVID, the Comrades was cancelled.
Yeah.
The 1 year, and then the next year that we trained for Comrades, ran around our gardens. So we had done the work, We ran around, my garden was 76 meters. I ran a half marathon around my garden one day.
What?
Yes. So we trained for it. So we did, the Comrades allowed us to do a virtual Comrades where you could run 90 Ks. You got the setting and everything to time it, and it all got submitted and all of that, and you got an actual virtual Comrades medal. So that's virtual comrades. It was because of COVID, we couldn't
Would
run.
you say that was harder than the one comrades, the official comrades that you ran? Just because of the mentality, you weren't running with a whole bunch of people.
It's a big difference because you're not running with a bunch of people. But I did have quite a support group as well that ran 5Ks with me.
Yes.
Some people ran 10Ks with me, so that was nice. But mentally it was definitely harder. Like comrades, because there's people, I would say when I did it, from 20Ks onwards, there's just people everywhere the whole way. So which helps.
But in terms of comrades, the official one, what was your time?
9 hours 36.
So that's a really impressive time. So what in your mind, explain to someone, what does it take to run, an average runner? How much work goes beforehand to run a sub 10 comrades?
A lot of work. Especially, so I'm not a natural runner.
Yeah.
Like I don't have a natural running build. I'm not a natural runner.
Some will disagree.
But it's a lot of hard work. You have to put in, so obviously the build up to it, and then from January you put in the hard work. You do your long runs on the weekends. It's back to back. So Saturday, Sunday, that's all you do is you run.
And it's like 5 months of that training just to...
So just four and a bit, because you obviously start your taper. So your taper starts 3 weeks before.
Yeah.
And you build. You don't like go into January running 40Ks on the week, on the Saturday.
Yeah.
You need to like build it. And then your main training months, obviously April is when your training is going to peak.
Yeah.
But,
and then that's when you're doing your 60K long runs.
So the 60K long run was last weekend.
Yes. How did it go?
It went.
There you go. And then I love that you mentioned about the training that goes beforehand, because like you said, as you enter the stadium for comrades, I've never ran comrades, but from what I've heard from the many people that have, there's just so much emotion in that stadium. And I think it's not just because of the pain that you've gone through on the day of comrades, but the pain that you've had to go through in 5-6 months of training. And I think that's what the appeal of comrades is. It's like this massive thing that everyone does, but it's so crazy, Syann, like running 88Ks in one day.
I know. It's
funny. So many
Kyra was saying to me yesterday, we actually only built to run 30Ks in a day. I'm like, well, then why are we doing this?
I know. So what you're actually saying is that
why are we doing it?
So you said that you've only done 2 comrades, that's a very big accomplishment. But in terms of an average person that's looking to start running, what are 3 tips that you would give to a new runner to get them fully progressed into running, and not running to the point where they hate it, but where they actually form a relationship with running? What are your 3 tips to new runners?
My first tip is always set a goal, because and make sure it's a realistic goal. So don't go start running today and say, I'm going to run comrades next year. Set a realistic goal, because once you have a goal, it's easier to stay motivated.
Yeah. So like signing up for a 10K race, or
say starting running today, and at the end of the year I want to run the Soweto half marathon.
Yeah.
Set a goal that you can work towards. Don't ever give up, because your body will want to give up way before your mind. So in your mind you must always say, I'm not going to give up.
Yeah.
I'm going to push through no matter what.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I would say as a third tip, I think run slow to run fast. Like that was something that was told to me very early on, and I do agree with that. You need to maintain certain heart rates. You can't push yourself, like, because I've seen so many people do that. They're like, I'm going to start running today. No. And then they run for 2 kilometers flat out, and then they hate running because they think about that feeling that was felt at the end of their run, where their lungs were like, and they were gasping for oxygen. Whereas if it's a chilled run where you say, okay, today I'm going to run from tree to tree. So like, I'm going to run to that tree, walk the next tree, run the next. Yeah. Like even with my mom now, who started to run slowly, I've seen that she really loves running because she's able to maintain a pace that isn't like killing her. You know what I'm saying?
Well, so that's another thing as well, as don't compete with anyone. True. We're all so different. Yeah. I mean, you and I go out. I think we've done, the last time we ran, we did hills together. And I mean, at the bottom of Michelle, I was still like, you go. Because we're all different. 100%. And your only competition must be that person in the mirror.
And I think that's why it's very important to have a goal. Because then you're reiterating, okay, I'm not competing with you. I'm competing for that goal that's coming. So yeah, awesome advice. How did you get into running? Because I know you... very active person, But how did you specifically get into running?
Well, I haven't always been a very active person.
Okay.
But I actually got injured. So I just started doing CrossFit, and it was a few months in, and I hurt my back. And I couldn't do anything with weights and that. And they said to me, go do something recreational like run. And I was like, oh, I don't like to run. But I went to park run that Saturday. I was like, let me just try. And exactly like you said, take it slow, take it easy. And I ran 2Ks and had to walk the rest because I couldn't go any further.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, man, I can surely run a 5K at my age. So I just kept going back.
Yeah.
And funny story, there was a little young boy, he was like 14, and he used to beat me every week. And eventually I was like, if he can do it, I can run this 5K without stopping.
Yeah.
And he was kind of my inspiration.
Yeah, I love that. And
but that's how I started running.
Yeah. And then if you had to say, what is one thing that you love most about running? What's the one, like if I was a non-runner and I said to you, but what do you love about running? What would your answer be? How would you
cheaper
convince?
than therapy.
And cycling.
And we're friendlier.
True. Cyclists don't wave. Dylan, you guys don't wave. But anyway,
but yeah, it's the way it makes me feel.
So what do you mean it's therapy for you? Try.
If I've had a really tough day, like my sister always says to me, why don't you go home and get on the couch and watch Netflix?
Yeah.
Why do you get home and go for a run?
Yeah.
If you've had had an awful day,
yeah,
I go home and I run and I feel better. I feel, those endorphins and that. It just makes me feel better.
Yeah,
it makes me feel good.
And then you mentioned that you were a CrossFitter, or you still are a CrossFitter, but that's what you initially started out as in terms of your like athletics and whatnot. What is in your mind, what is the importance of cross training while you're running? Because I know when we were running these marathons and stuff, I would run with you in the mornings and then you'd be like, okay, now I'm going to do yoga and then I'm going to swim tomorrow. And I was like, wow, you do all these things, but why is it so important to maintain a balance and not just be a runner?
So CrossFit, as in the strength training part, so it doesn't have to be CrossFit, it can just be weights or resistance and whatever. I find that is very important because it keeps you injury free.
Yeah.
So when you're running, you're using the same muscles over and over again. It's the same movement. You need to also work all these other muscles, which is why cross training, so yoga, cycling, swimming. I'm not very good at cycling, but swimming and yoga I like to do as my cross training because, again, it strengthens all those other little muscles that you don't use when you run.
Yeah.
And that helps you stay injury-free. Not that I always stay injury-free, but it does prevent a lot of things that can come.
And I think that played a big part in the marathons and not getting injured and stuff, was that because in the lead up to it, I was doing a lot of training with the weights and whatnot. I wasn't just solely focused on the distance.
On the run, yeah.
That was, very, very true. So, Syann, if you could only run one place at one time for the rest of your life, what would you do? So, what is your favorite place and time to run?
Time of day.
Yeah.
Time of day is definitely early morning.
Okay.
I love to run when there's a sunrise, and definitely by the sea.
Okay. Yeah. So that's why you love Two Oceans so much, I guess.
Yes.
Okay.
Although Comrades, you're running away from the sea.
Okay, so Syann, you've obviously ran for a long time and you've had a lot of running shoes. What is the one running shoe that's your favorite, that's your go-to? Okay,
so I've tried everything, and I'm not saying it's the best because I still believe Asics is the best.
Okay.
But I run a Nike.
Asics sponsor us.
But I do run a Nike. I've tried everything, and Nike's always my go-to.
And I also think, so you were mentioning with the Comrades, it's an up and down run, right? This year is an up run.
This year's an up.
Which one do you prefer?
I don't know. Can I let you know? Can we put that on ice? Okay. I'll let you know in 4 weeks' time.
That's a very wise answer. Well done. Okay. What are some of your running goals, Syann, and what are you looking to still achieve while you are able to run fit and whatnot?
Well, listen, I still want to one day do the London Marathon.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and just, I want to go back to oceans. I want to do oceans again. I haven't done it for a few years now. So I have many bucket list runs. There's runs that I haven't done. I haven't done Dam yet.
Yeah.
And it's one of the ones that I really want to do. But yeah, there's a few marathons that are on my bucket list. London Marathon being one.
There's so many good ones. Berlin, London, Boston. There's like
So
many good marathons.
Yeah.
Okay, Syann, into the deeper questions, and then we're almost done. You said that was quick. So what has been the best moments in your life thus far, and why was it so important for you?
Well, I have two.
Okay.
And I think that would both times be when I had my kids.
Yeah.
And I looked at them for the first time. It was, I even want to cry.
Oh, God.
It's the most, there's nothing in the world that you can't explain it. You can't explain it. It's immediate love.
Yeah. Awesome answer. Then on the antithesis of that, what has been a low moment for you, and what did you learn from that?
Oh, I've had lots of low moments as well, eh?
Like running Comrades.
That was brief. And then you feel happy again. You're like, I love this. This is the best thing ever.
Yeah,
what a good decision.
True.
I think one of the lowest moments in my life was losing my father-in-law. He was a great inspiration to me. He was a father figure, and it came so suddenly, and losing him was...
Sure, that got deep.
Yeah, so it got deep very quick.
What did you learn from it though? Was there anything that you learned from that experience that you would, if someone's going through a similar situation, you would give them some wisdom?
I think what I learned from that, because eventually right at the end we knew it was coming, but I didn't until that point. So I would say never take advantage of the special people in your life. Always let them know, because tomorrow they can be gone.
I love that. Really nice. So we have a thing now where we try end off every episode with these same 3 questions, right? And I think advice is a very common commodity because everyone tends to give you advice. But in saying that, what has been the best advice someone has ever given you, and who said it to you?
Again, my father-in-law, and he told me, and I was a new mom. My daughter was a few days old, and I was... I'm sure your mom will tell you as well. I'm sure all moms are like that. It can't just be me. But I was very, you couldn't hold Tanith like this, and don't put her there. And I was like a real pedantic mom. And he said to me, protect your children, but don't wrap them in cotton wool. They need to learn how this world is, because it's only going to get worse. And I think that was it was such good advice, because as the years have gone by, just allowing them to, from when they're small, allow them to fall.
Yeah.
I mean, I was forever trying to not let these things happen, and then allow them to fall. They need to learn
how to fail.
Yes.
And you see it, like you can see it from a mile away, these parents that like cuddle their kids and they think they're doing it out of love, but when in truth...
You do. And he always said to me, he was like, through the years, he's like, remember I told you, don't wrap it. If I ever did something that made him think I was doing that, he would say, I told you, don't wrap in cotton wool. Don't wrap your kids in cotton wool. They have to learn. And that's not to say don't protect them. It just means don't, they're going to have to face these trials and tribulations. So allow them to learn to.
True. Very, very true. Okay, and then the opposite side, what has been the worst advice someone's ever said to you? You don't have to tell us who it is, unless you want to throw a bit of shade.
I won't mention names, but push through the pain.
Push through the pain.
Yeah, and I ended up with a stress fracture.
Okay, so if it gets, when it comes to life, push through the pain. When it comes to running, stop.
Don't stop. Listen to your body. That's my third piece of advice. Listen to your body.
Okay, last 2 questions, and then we're done for today. The first one being, you're obviously a Christian, and we spoke about God a lot during our runs, during the marathons, and obviously the undeniable role he played in helping me achieve my goal. But in saying that, what is your favorite Bible verse, and what does it mean to you? Why is it so important to you?
So when I was, I think I was in grade 3 or 4, obviously I'm from Zimbabwe, and they did a play, and we all had to sing these Bible verses in that. And from that play, I took away, I was so young, but trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding has stayed with me all the years. And whenever I doubt, I always think of that verse.
Such a beautiful verse. And it's like very comforting because so many times you go through these moments in your life where you're like, God, I don't understand why this is happening. And it's like, you don't have to understand. You just need to trust.
That's
So
it.
I love that Bible verse too. Last question, then we're done for today, Syann. And for this answer, please look into that camera, directly into the viewer's eyes. What advice do you wish to give to others?
I would say never give up. Never give up. That's
simple as that.
Simple as that. Never give up.
We've actually had a lot of people reiterate that point. Like, it sounds so cliche, like never give up. But everyone we've had has said something along those lines. Like, if you just keep persevering, eventually you're gonna achieve whatever it is that you're looking to achieve. So
yeah, it is. Someone said to me the other day, have plans, but write them in pencil. Because life changes in that, and as long as you never give up, you can always rub it out and rewrite it.
True. I love that. But have plans. Don't just go through life.
You have to have plans,
100%. Okay, so Syann, we are done. I like to end off every episode with a prayer, if we can do that. Is that fine? Okay, so I'll pray for us and then we're done.
Okay.
So that wasn't too bad.
Not at all.
Okay. Father God, we come to you in praise today to say thank you so much for the blessing that is Syann as a friend. Thank you so much that we have the ability to converse and share our wisdom with other people. Thank you so much that you've protected us on this beautiful day, and we pray that you'll continue blessing us through the rest of it. Amen.
Amen.
Syann,
thank
you so much. We're done. That wasn't too bad.